UBI is an interesting idea, even on the so-called right of politics. There's lots of people on the small c conservative side of sort of the more thinking side, the intellectual side, who actually would like a universal basic income, but only on the basis that it would replace the rest of the benefit system. I think the part of the problem is that UBI would be very expensive. You know, back of the fag packet calculations, it's in tens of billions, if not more. So it would need to replace the entire benefit system were it to work. And on the disability strategy more generally, yeah, look, as you said, Ian, it's about time that some of this stuff came to pass. It's not right that any rail station in the country doesn't have access to people with disabilities. So I know some campaigners today, like Lord Shinkwin, have been quite critical of some of the measures, but some of it is long overdue, and it's about time that the government acted on a lot of it.
You must be outraged at some of the what Simon would call the abuses of public money over this pandemic, and the fact that so many contracts seemingly were awarded to people that people at the centre of government knew personally.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is to do with delivery as well. So when a contract was awarded to deliver a certain item of PPE, and those items of PPE never showed up, I think they're the areas where a public inquiry really needs to press down upon and find out exactly what happened with taxpayers' money. Look, I mean, it was an emergency. We understand that people had to act quickly and take decisions very, very quickly. But that doesn't mean that we can't hold people accountable after the fact. And if it's found that, you know, money, taxpayers' money, was dished out to people who then did not deliver on what they said they were going to deliver on, then there ought to be consequences for that. And look, when the bounce back loan scheme was announced, that was to get money out very quickly to small and medium-sized businesses, and rightly so. But we said at the time that the Fraud Act should be amended so that if anybody is caught abusing taxpayers' money, then they should receive a longer time in prison than was otherwise put forward in the Fraud Act as it stood. So yeah, absolutely. I think that acting quickly was the right thing to do, but there's, you know, a bit more stick needed on the other side when people have been found or will be found to have stolen taxpayers' money. On
HS2, is this a giant waste of money?
I hadn't heard about the roads announcement too, but that's my oversight rather than Chris's. HS2 is a waste of money. It was originally slated to cost just over 30 billion. At present, official estimates are 106 billion. It doesn't do anything to address regional inequalities in terms of infrastructure. You know, a much better idea would have been to have a rail linking Liverpool to, you know, over to Hull and maybe up to Newcastle. So there's plenty of other ways to improve the infrastructure of the country without a train line up to Birmingham and then beyond for £106 billion. So yeah.
And do you think the pandemic has actually undermined any business case that there even was, given that we're all used to having video conferencing now and using Zoom and Teams and all the rest of it? Surely that means that fewer people will want to travel that route.
Possibly, yeah. And, you know, it was a flimsy business case to start with. The original business case assumed an average passenger income of £70,000 a year. So it's pretty much a rich man's train paid for by ordinary taxpayers.
Or women's.
Indeed so. Listen, and as you say, a much cheaper alternative would be to kit out the entire rolling stock in the UK with Wi-Fi. Let everybody work on the train, and it would improve productivity and save a shed load of money. And to answer an earlier point, the cost of furlough so far is 64 billion of that 372. So the figures are astronomical. But of course, the early action was necessary. I think you know, even the Taxpayers Alliance, even the hard-nosed Taxpayers Alliance were you know, open to the idea that we needed to act quickly and spend money, because this is what governments are there for, to look after the country in times of emergency. But Andrew's absolutely right. Now that the money has been spent, we now need to talk about how we're going to pay for it into the future. And you know, the constant ideas for increasing taxes when we've already got a 70-year high tax burden, I'm afraid, you know, ordinary households just won't be able to you know, afford it. And so we need to go for growth. We need to make sure that the economy is growing, and so far so good. And I know the IMF has predicted that the UK will grow at 7% over the next year, so hopefully that does repair some of the damage for us.